Yo guys, here is an Ambessa versus Sett matchup. Arguably you could also leash your jungler a little bit with your Q, especially after buffs, but let's move on from that. So, how to conceptualize things currently. So what's most of the Sett players will do, they will try to zone you off level 1 of the first 3 minions. And, that's very important for him to do so, to utilize his early game strength. But why is he stronger than we are currently? So, we have a Q that barely does any damage early on, we already know it does barely any damage. We have a passive that also does barely any damage. We can also mainly utilize it to last it more safely. Same way as we're gonna use our base kit in general to play proactively, safely, and mainly we're gonna CS and disengage with it. Now, Sett's kit as an example. So he has 13 bonus damage on his second punch, but notably it goes off 8 times faster. So we could arguably say he has a little attack speed as well from his passive. Now he also has a health regeneration from his passive, just so he has a bit more sustain in his kit. He does have his E, does some damage. Worst case scenario, it stuns you, which does matter, and it also helps him to proc PTA. This guy does play PTA Ignite, so this is the harder version. Shield Bash, all that very strong early game setup. And what you wanna do against this type of players, that even if he doesn't stuns you, but he connects his E, he still outrades you regardless, especially if he procs PTA. So it's not about him getting a stun off. So in here, we position in a way he doesn't get to E us into our own minions, I mean, because that way he gonna stun us and he gonna get 3 last hits. We're gonna position in a way away from his Z, but at the same time in XP range, and we're gonna do what, guys? We're gonna force his E here. His E is forced out, right? Now he's trying to heavily trade into us. We basic back as well. In here I could go for a space basic, but he was walking towards me, and with one attack he could proc his PTA, so it's not really worth risking it. Now in here what we really want to do is that we both soak the minion XP, none of us got the gold, so we are kind of even in that sense. Mostly gonna utilize your Qs to farm, because that dangerous this champion is. His Q is again like just a basic reset, very strong, it does decent amount of damage, and also his passive also applies when he Qs to his second basic, so it's gonna be pretty strong. In general, as I said, if there's nothing to last it, you could poke with your Q because it doesn't trans D-shield, but in here I utilized my W and my bomb plating's power to trade even into his E, which was totally fine because he didn't proc his PTA, I spaced his basic attack, so I weaved in a grass basic. And in here we again have to play safely because he did unlock his WEQ, so he could trade pretty heavily into us, so mainly we allow everything to be pushed in. Nice, now everything is pushed in, great. Now we have so many dashes, so we can work around his W, we can work around his E. For now we just pick up as much CS as possible. And he did go downwards to ward, but that shouldn't be a concern for us. So in here, what do we do now? Sett doesn't have the shield, so our pokes do matter actually. If he has the shield, your pokes will matter more after like 4 or 5. And even though I did trade a little bit here, he doesn't really have the best stun angle, because he may or may not think that I'm gonna dash in a direction. So some of them will hold into their, of course, like their stun, and he doesn't have a lot in his W as well. So it means that even if he stuns me, he will not deal lots of damage, if it makes sense. I dash out, I dash again to predict his E, because clearly in here he wants to E already, just because he gets like a really nice angle to stun me into my own minions, because his E, when he pulls 2 champions or one champion into a minion, then it will stun them for 1 second, which gives him a pretty heavy trade because he gets to proc PTA as well. I dash out of it. Normally you need to predictably use your dash, obviously, as I did, because you can't reactively dash away. Some dashes are slightly delayed, so realistically on almost every champion you need to do that. In here, sadly, this is what happens if he procs his E. Procs his PTA, uses his E on us, I mean. But we're still in a winning spot because I know his W is on cooldown and we could force something. So again, keep in mind, his W has a cooldown, a long cooldown. His E has a long cooldown as well. So yes, he is very strong, but he does have cooldowns as well. In here he popped his Ignite, which placed some pressure on my HP bar. Now the thing is, his chat stays a little bit in the way. Let's just pull it off. The thing is, we have TP and he doesn't, and we get to overstay a little bit because as if now Kiana is not here, if you guys noticed. He gave up his E. Now what does that mean? He can't hit an accurate W, and also, by the way, I played the whole matchup without flash because I was forced to flash off an invade. But you'll have your flash, I'm sure of it. Now in here, leaping that he's coming. But he turned back half wave when he saw the Kiana. So what does that mean? In here I was like trying to hold the wave to bait set into deep, but then halfway I realized he pinged, he walked, but then he walked the other direction. Now this may not be the end of the world scenario, because we could still get 5 and utilize our W and bomb plating into him if he tries to dive me. But I just don't know, it's a little bit weird, because he's like he's invading, which is good, because in here he gets a success. Does he not get a successful kill? Because in here I couldn't walk because of set into them. And Kiana would just root me with her Q, so there was no way of rotating. Again, in here it's a little bit risky as well to rotate, because Kiana could still be tossing around her shit. So I didn't like particularly walk in, but they picked up set. Now in here we have the wave in a favorable spot, but we do push it out actually, because we have TP and set is dead, as well Kiana is low, so she cannot actually like collapse on us when we try to get next wave. So we're gonna skip a little bit forward, because nothing's gonna happen beside like shoving before set arrives. Again, keep it in mind, you gotta push as fast, as efficiently as possible, utilize your WQ on like the whole wave as much as possible. Set did arrive, but it shouldn't be a concern. Now Kiana did arrive, that also shouldn't be a concern, because we dash away. But arguably, maybe I shouldn't even R. Now in here I had a slight misplay. Maybe if I hit my R I kill her. But also what I really want to point out, I wasted a bit of my own time, because I tried to cancel her B, but I didn't manage to, sadly. I was too slow on it, and I could even potentially kill her, or force her to stay, so we get a free, really nice Drake, but it shouldn't be the end of the world. Now, okay, time passes. What should we look at? We have Cowfield, refillable, ideal recal for both pressure and a little bit of health sustain. Now, look at this, guys. We have a sort of item advantage, we can call it, right? Because he doesn't have like a full component, you know, a finished. I mean, it's like a component into like a bigger component, I mean, right? Now, in here, same logic. We gotta use our kit as efficiently as possible. In here, even in here, just because I played around his E, it doesn't mean that he cannot brute force an all-in and kill us anyways, because he has, again, ignite or flash, all that. And sadly, we don't have that much fuel to just like 100 to 0 a champion just like that, you know. So ideally, what you have to do is just to continuously short trade and look for something, you know. Now in here an opportunity shows up, because what's happening? In here, basically he was like insanely low on HP. He had ignite, which made it a bit risky, but he was very low on HP. Now if I was a little bit better, I could then predict his R with my own R, but again, that's a little hard. He got picked up regardless. His heal regen was so disgusting here, it's unreal. And we killed him. And we did kill him. Now, again, what do we do next? We can really easily, if you choose, you can greed on this wave. If you don't want to, that's also totally fine. Up to your choice. But he does lose a lot of CS, to be honest, so up to your choice. What do you want to do here? Again, we're gonna skip a little bit forward. Picked up the cannon, picked up the wave. Sadly, we did get ganked, but we are out again. We dash out, and we die regardless because she flashes. The wave is at least not frozen, because the cannon went under tower, so there isn't really like particularly a freeze. As I said, this is optional, so this is what happens when you greed, on occasion. Kiana was topside this time, so just saying, that's what you could do to avoid it. Looks like people are fighting a little bit. Meantime, we're gonna go back to top lane. Now we're gonna go back to top lane, guys. And so what's our next step? For now, I believe I tried to rotate. We picked up set, so there's nothing special about this. We also damaged a little bit these grabs, you know, so, you know, we can get our legend haste stacks, well, I guess we could get absorb life healing, that doesn't really matter too much here. So we damaged it a little bit, so we're gonna get some stacks for legend haste, which is really good to have shit ton of cooldown on this champion. And for now, we're also like shoving as fast as possible, because this way we can actually just like get a demolish proc. We also have 2 grabs, so we can like chunk this tower pretty hard. Again, I'm not scared of set in particular. I'm not gonna proc demolish because he could E me and heavily trade, but we can, you know, we can very easily just basically get the plate and, you know, play it out safely. We don't have Eclipse yet, but we are closing up towards Eclipse. I messed up that Q, actually. That's something I didn't intend to do. He's trying to connect a E. Now he was a bit more patient, but it would get spaced due to the mobility difference because I went boots and he doesn't have more mobility. So by the time he casts it, I would walk out of it. That's why he didn't E there, even though it looked like it would connect. Again, he doesn't have what, guys? He doesn't have his E. We look at his E ability when I'm trading. So the reason why he cannot pull me back, W me, get everything off, you know, his W still hurts, by the way. It does 419 damage if it's maxed out, so just saying. Which also gets amped, by the way, by PTA and, you know, Laston, so it could be 450-ish, 450-ish, around that, you know, so it is more dangerous than it looks like, you know. But again, we have our abilities up, and what are we playing around again? His E is on cooldown, so he cannot hit a consistent W, right? Aside of that, what do we play around, guys? Again, in here we have item advantages. He uses R, guys. Now what do we do here? We are in. I should then go for a basic instead of queuing. Basic Q would then kill here, and it may not end up as a 1-for-1, so that's a mistake on my part, because he did get... Actually, I don't even know, guys, that might be worse, because I think that basic wouldn't kill. And if I don't get to cast my... Actually, I don't even know if this was worse than... Like, I don't know if that basic would kill. He has like 60 base armor, 93 HP. I don't even know, guys. I don't even know, guys, honestly. Did I have grasp bare minimum up or something? With grasp it would probably kill, I would say. Yeah, with grasp it would. So I should been like R, click on him, press S, then Q, then dash upwards from Kiana away. Because, again, because Sett got to R, Kiana got enough damage off on me. And basically, you know, basically what happened is that it was a 1-for-1 instead of 1-for-nothing, you know. Yeah, it was a bit messy on my part. Alright. Because again, same logic, guys. We lose out on plates, we could bang at 1 or 2 plates, or well, back off if Kiana arrives, and just get more value out of this play if we played a little better. Now in here I mainly want to clip the laning phase, so after laning phase is over, the video is also kind of like over, because in particular you're just really here just to know how to play around this matchup. Then in particular in late game, again, you gotta be even more cautious with his W because it does shit ton of true damage, but in particular lots of emphasis on laning phase, lots of emphasis on how to deal with him. And at Eclipse point, it's very easy if you're ahead, because at this point you have too many shields, you just genuinely have just so many ways to like play around his damage to the point where it just sucks to be US Sett, because now the only way I die if I int, which I did W here, I did E, but it did soak lots of tower damage. I Q again, so it does lose like 400 HP. And in here, I'm not really proxying because I'm in a winning position and I would rather just like to Q poke him until I can dive him. So I would just rather do that, you know, instead of just like poking and whatnot, you know. And again, we dash away so we don't get pulled under tower, because the tower shot could be concerning. And I also cannot continue my trades under tower, so we dash out of it. Again, guys, what do we play around? Basically his W, because it's a massive shield and it does lots of damage, so you kind of don't want to like, you want to trade into Sett, but you don't want to over trade, because some of your abilities will not deal damage anyway, so you need to disengage from him. And you see like he has a shield anyway, so it's like damage shield return, right? You gotta play around that. Same thing, we can heavily trade. In here we just get the plate. He tried to flash army under tower, but honestly it wouldn't really matter, even if he's... I mean, I had flash, honestly. Maybe he would force out my flash. In here I didn't tower in time, I hesitated a little bit, so she got to flash away. But probably I didn't have to flash, I mean, or anyways, because my team kills this Nidali, so that was a slight misplay on my part. Like, my or wasn't, like, even if it hits, it wasn't needed, if it makes sense. Maybe if he misses his Q, arguably, after Nidali's flash, but you could just think about that, you know. In here, they just started to pick the other guys up. we get his wall plated tower, and actually it's not plated, they kinda expired. Oh. Alright, laning phase is over. That's it for now, guys. I hope you guys learned something new. Have a nice day, y'all. And this was a loss prevented, so we lost this game, but because of Riot Game server got messed up, it was a loss prevented.